That situation sounds like a student's worst nightmare, right? Well, that actually happened to me in a high school class. And looking back, maybe it was my fault. I should have tried harder to stay awake, got more sleep the night before. But let's look at the scene leading up to that incident.
Went back to Washington, D.C., this time with maps and with profile.
In an office in the Capitol building, Judah unfurled a 60-foot-long map and smaller profiles of his proposed line across the Sierras.
Sure, we didn't watch movies every day in class, but here's what a usual day looked like.
Interestingly, the basic understanding required for appropriate social relations appears to be relatively intact in youngsters with depression. They generally are capable of providing cognitive.
Too often in schools, teachers do not consider or maybe even care about the major impact that their behavior has on students' levels of engagement. Based off of the self-determination theory, autonomy, competence, and relatedness are the three innate psychological needs necessary for self-motivation and engagement. When teachers engage in need-supportive instruction, they promote student engagement by providing autonomy support, structure, and involvement. It is important for teachers to assign activities that encourage students to reflect on, evaluate, and question the material being taught. Teachers should also take into consideration students' different backgrounds and varied learning styles. Differentiated instruction is a means by which teachers anticipate and respond to the diverse needs of students in their classroom. To meet all students' needs, teachers differentiate the material being taught, how it is taught, and the way in which students must demonstrate their learning. While teacher behavior is very influential in students' engagement, it is not the only factor at play. Other major components to consider are school structure and the influence of family and peers. In terms of school structure, school size and the racial composition of the school population can influence student engagement and performance. Smaller schools have been shown to have higher levels of student academic achievement, morale, satisfaction, maturity, and responsibility. Additionally, smaller schools generally have higher attendance rates and increased participation in extracurricular and social activities. When looking at the racial composition of school population, there are competing hypotheses about the effects on student performance, specifically for minority students. However, disidentification from school is a problem often seen among African American students. Disidentification is a mechanism that students use to protect their self-esteem by means of devaluing school-related accomplishments. Although poor academic achievement can be a threat to anyone's self-esteem, it can be especially destructive to the self-esteem of African Americans who run the risk of confirming a stereotype of intellectual inferiority. This fear of confirming a stereotype about one's identity is known as stereotype threat. The final contributor to student engagement is the influence of family and peers. Effective parenting for school success includes monitoring children's activities and setting limits, becoming involved in their lives, and allowing them to openly discuss their views and beliefs. Unfortunately, not all students have the benefit of supportive parents. Whether it is intentional or not, there are many reasons why a parent may not be able to be an available support for their child academically. In regards to peer influence, perceived support from peers can give students a sense of motivation and help students see the importance of pursuing academic success. But in a school environment where academic achievement is devalued by many students, a negative stigma can develop around being very engaged in school. All in all, student engagement is affected by many structural and social factors, and while it is impossible to control all of them, it is up to teachers to consider each student's situation and meet their needs as best as they can.